Australia's corporate watchdog is banning the major banks from pushing higher credit card limits to lure consumers into greater debt. New laws to stop the banks making unsolicited offers to increase people's credit limits starts next month. Australia's biggest bank, the Commonwealth, has already had to withdraw a deceptive promotion. But in the meantime, borrowers should beware because the banks stand accused of trying to suck in unsuspecting customers ahead of the crackdown. Stephen Long reports.
For Ash McKinnon, after his wife was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer, it was a case of debt or despair.
My wife had cancer and we were given no options here, and so we went for a treatment in hospitals around the world. We had to go to America. But you had to act pretty quickly, and so to do that, the banks said, yeah, you can have an extended credit limit on your credit cards.
It cost big money, $50,000, at credit card interest rates of 18 to 21%, plus follow-up treatment 2 years on. The expense seemed worthwhile as his wife Leah became an inspiration.
Please meet Leah Chapman.
Great to see you.
Bert and Patty Newton featured her journey from breast cancer to brain cancer.
I had 11 brain metastases, so 11 tumours in the brain.
And then apparent recovery after US treatment not available here.
No more growth, no tumours there.
But there was no happy ending. Leah beat cancer, but died later of liver failure.
When she passed away, there was still about $80,000 left on those credit cards, which, as a single parent, a lot of avenues closed up for me.
He tried to roll the credit card debt into the mortgage. The bank refused. He was forced to sell the family home and bed and breakfast in Byron Bay, but still owed $20,000. And here's the punchline.
Now I still get, letters coming from some of the banks, asking if I want to extend my credit limit or apply for, I've closed my account, would you like to apply for a new credit card, which they just go straight into the recycling.
So despite the fact that you had $80,000 in debt and owed enormous amounts on credit cards, were getting legal threats, the banks are still offering you new credit cards and increased credit limits.
Yeah.
Push-selling credit card debt in this way will soon be illegal. From the 1st of July, unsolicited offers to lift your credit card limit will be banned. But in the lead-up, banks have ramped up their efforts to dole out debt.
It looks an awful lot like some of the financial institutions are trying to beat the deadline, i.e. trying to beat the intent of the legislation, which recognises that credit cards, and in particular these unsolicited offers, get people into trouble.
Well, we didn't support the new laws. We didn't feel that they were necessary. We have 15 million credit cards in Australia. The vast majority of those are used by customers carefully and responsibly.
Unfortunately, ASIC has seen some of the major lenders, some of the major banks in fact, looking at the opportunity, the introduction of these new laws, to push credit onto their customer base in a way that's inappropriate and in a way that arguably undermines the intent of the new laws.
The Commonwealth Bank recently posted a notice on its website telling customers they would lose the chance to get credit limit offers under the new laws and miss out on the opportunity to access extra funds.
That statement was clearly misleading. It was clearly designed to encourage consumers to sign up now rather than giving them the opportunity to think through whether they really needed extra credit.
CBA gave a court-enforceable undertaking to stop the deception, but the damage was done. It's pretty serious when you get an enforceable undertaking with a major bank which put misleading material on its website that generated 100,000 responses from customers, isn't it?
Well, look, we are a very, very closely regulated industry, and ASIC is doing its job by monitoring very carefully what the banks do. There are times where the banks and ASIC will interpret legislation differently, and these are new laws. What we are learning is the approach that ASIC is going to take, and the banks will be very quick to make sure that they're fully compliant with ASIC's approach.
Buy now and save with no deposit, no interest, no repayments for 500 days.
It's not just banks pushing the plastic. Adam Spence worked at a Domain store in Canberra, signing up people for in-store credit cards on the lure that they could buy goods interest-free. The cards were backed by GE Finance.
In my experience, customers were able to get credit remarkably easily, regardless of their financial position, and with fairly minimal interrogation of what their financial position was.
This former debt salesman says the lending targeted the financially vulnerable.
They absolutely were. It was clear from the way the credit was being approved that they were intending to get people on board who would not understand the terms and conditions and therefore would breach them in terms of going over the interest-free period. Certainly among staff there was a clear preference for customers who didn't quite understand what they were getting into.
If customers overran the interest-free period, they faced punishing interest rates, up to 39%.
The credit check-in was minimal at best. The credit was approved instantaneously, so there was no opportunity for the credit provider to fact-check anything that they had said.
GE have a credit card application online at the moment, where you get your application approved within 60 seconds.
Katrina Lowe of the Consumer Action Law Centre and financial counsellor Gary Rothman deal with the fallout of irresponsible lending and borrowing. They've seen a huge surge in offers of additional credit ahead of the start of the new responsible lending laws next month.
We have seen and done research about the way in which these offers have been put together, which really encourage people to turn off, if you like, that hard-nosed financial part of their brain and turn on the fuzzy, oh yes, I deserve it, I might need it for a rainy day, the bank manager's telling me it's okay, I'll just do it without thinking about it too much.
Okay, Dan, I understand that you have some credit card debt. It's not uncommon for us to see people with $70,000 to $120,000 in credit card debt.
The new laws will put a tougher onus on lenders to verify people's financial circumstances before they extend credit. In the meantime, borrower beware.
And GE, which finances store credit cards, issued a statement tonight saying it takes responsible lending very seriously and that it isn't in GE's interest to lend people more than they can repay.